So you might ask, what is one of the drawbacks of having a reel mower in the United States where they aren't so common? One of the big drawbacks, and it doesn't just apply to having an Allett, it has to do with probably any, would be where do you get your reels ground at? That's the challenge that I'm having right now. So I got my first Allett in 2020, which was the Kensington, and then I won the lawn striping competition from Allett, and from that I got the Stirling 51. And they're great mowers, but the challenge that I have with them is where do I get the reel ground at? And I'm in Utah right now, and I'm having a hard time finding a place that'll do it. I was able to make contact with a golf course that was able to do it, but that would have been able to do it, but they'd prefer to do it around November or December or so during the off season, not when they're caring for their lawns. So now I don't have a place to grind my reels, and I've never done it. What I've done in the past, though, and what I'm going to do today is backlap, which is a common practice, and I think that as long as you don't have any heavy damage on your reel, it should be sufficient to keep them sharp and functioning for quite a while. I think that the main purpose of grinding is in case you hit a rock or some other type of thing that damages the reel in such a way that it's not like it's knocking against the bed knife or something like that. And so that's what I'm going to do today, is backlap my reel so that I can mow my lawn. Let me show you first, before I do, what happens to the lawn when your reel isn't sharp. So I mowed this area the other day, and it's still looking pretty good, but it's ready for another mow if I want to keep it this short. I'm cutting it at about 1 inch now. But, I don't know, let me get closer here. You can see how the grass, let me see if I can get in close enough here. The grass gets this kind of shredded look here, so it's cutting here, but then it's just like pulling off the grass material. It's not cutting the grass very well, and you can see that that's what's happened all through here, and it's not just in this area, it's all throughout my lawn that I've been mowing at. And so that's why I need to backlap, so that it will get so that it'll have a clean cut. So I've ordered some backlapping compound, but it's not going to be here for another week, and I really want to mow. So what I did was I went to O'Reilly's Auto Parts and got this valve grinding compound that should work pretty much the same. Actually, I've used it before, and it does work well. I just wanted to get a larger quantity of stuff that was actually made for backlapping. But this is an interesting product because it says on the back that it contains 220, 180, 150, and 120 grits all in the same compound. And so, when you first put it on, the heavier grit will do its work, and then will kind of be moved out of the way. And then I guess the theory is that the finer grit does some touch-up work by the time it's all kind of washed off, and then you repeat it over and over again. So I'm going to give this a go today, and then when I get the actual backlapping compound, then I'll be doing that probably in a couple of weeks. So the patient for today is my 10-blade reel. And it's got some, I should probably keep this grass off of it, but it is pretty smooth, especially where it contacts it's a really smooth edge right there. I don't know if you probably can't see that, but I do need to keep this caked on grass off of it. That's probably not good. So anyways, I'm gonna try to sharpen that edge up right there a bit with this grinding compound, and we'll see how it goes. The side gear or sprocket here has a little nut right there that the ratchet, the socket will attach to right there. This is a 24 millimeter socket, and I have a drill attachment. This particular socket has a 1/2 inch hole, connector hole. I don't know, there's probably a technical term for that. But so this was my drill attachment so that I can put it on my handy dandy battery powered electric drill here, and then hopefully get this rotating and sharpening. Now before I get to to backlapping, before I get to backlapping, I'm gonna just do a paper cut test just to see how it's doing right now in what I have it set on. So when Austin Jarrett from Allett does this, he usually folds a regular kind of printer paper in half to do it. So that's what I do. I know that some people will do it with one sheet of paper, but I think the purpose of doing it in a twice folded over is just so that you're not getting such a strong contact between the blade and the bed knife to wear down things. Because you don't want to be cutting it by brute force, you want to be cutting it because the blades are sharp. So that's what I have. And so right there, just in whatever setting I have this at, it is just not cutting at all there. And then down here, it did cut, but it's an okay cut. I mean, but it, so down here, I could probably just tighten that up and get it to cut, but still is just very kind of smooth. I don't feel any danger of cutting myself by rubbing my finger on this. That's how dull it is. So hopefully I'll be able to take care of that. Now, as my starting point, I'm going to adjust these blade to bed knife contact screws so that it is cutting on each end. So that was just one turn. I just want to make sure that this is starting off in a cutting position. See, that's not even cutting yet. So I'm going to click it down one more. Nope. I think I'm going to go for two. Just live dangerously there. And okay, so that did cut it. So I'm starting at a place where it is cutting the paper, and so then we'll go from there. All right, so now it is time for the grinding. I've got the old chip brush in one hand, a screwdriver in the other, and so remember, I've got to turn it. If I turn, I've got to put it on the drill setting, or else the torque thing is going to release on it. Okay, so if I turn it this way, this is the cutting direction. That's not the way I want to do it. So I'm going to reverse the drill and go in this direction now while I'm doing it. Okay? All right. Now this is going to be challenging to do with only two hands, but I think I might be able to manage. So I'm just going to load up the brush and just start brushing it on. And you can hear immediately as the compound starts getting on the blade to reel knife, or the reel to blade knife contact there. And I'm just going to do this for a while. Now when Austin Jarrett did his for the Allett YouTube video, he did it so that he would do it for a while, and then he would notch down the adjustment screws like one, and then do it some more, and then notch them down again, and then do it some more, just so that it is grinding down for a bit. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I've just noticed on the frames of I've just noticed on the video that it's like getting a weird interaction with the frames, and it's looking like it's not moving very fast, but it is actually moving pretty fast here. So. So you can hear how it's not, it's still not dangerously sharp yet, so I've got a ways to go here. But you can hear how after a while it's not as noisy, so that's either the grinding compound being moved off of the blade, or it's, it grinding and should be adjusted down a little bit. You know, actually, I think I will adjust it down one notch on this now on both sides. One click, and we'll see what that does. Okay. Another thing to watch out for is I'm getting some spray up here on my column here, which isn't that big a deal. I'll just wash it off when I'm done, but just be aware that it does splatter. So, you know, I don't know if it would stain fabric, but anyways. Well, it does feel like it is getting a little sharper, but not quite accidentally cut yourself if you're not paying attention sharp. More of a, you know, yeah, it's not as rounded as it was. So it is doing some work here. All right, I'm going to squeeze out the last of my grinding compound. I don't know if you noticed, but last time I adjusted the contact screws. I don't know what to call them. Adjust the blade and bed knife contact. I notched it down twice, and I just did that because I don't have much grinding compound left, and I wanted to make sure that it was going to, you know, I don't know, be more aggressive, I suppose, in its contact. So that is that. But this is the most I've done it before. Usually I've only used one tube, so hopefully this will do the job here. Well, I think I am out of grinding compound now. So let's check the sharpness here. You know what? I would say that feels pretty sharp. I still am not like afraid of rubbing my finger on it that I would accidentally cut myself, but I do think that it is definitely sharper than it was. But now I need to wash this off because you don't want to leave this grinding compound on the reel when you mow, because if it works down, you know, you're turning it in the other direction, and if it's still on if the grinding compound is still on, then it's gonna still kind of try to grind away at the metal, but it'll do it in the wrong direction and in the wrong spots, and it may end up dulling your blade. So I'll thoroughly wash this off, and then I'll get it on the mower and start mowing. So I think I'm still going to use the drill to turn this while I'm washing it, just to, you know, keep the blades moving. But I'll keep moving it in the sharpening direction, not in the mowing direction. I'm going to loosen the blade to bed knife connection back up a couple of notches, and then I'll start over from there. But I don't want to lower it down all the way to get it a perfect cut until it's in the mower, because the pressure from when it's installed in the mower pushes on everything a little bit and can change this. And so it's best not to do your final adjustment outside of the mower. It's best to do it in the mower. But let's see what we've got here. That is a pretty good cut all the way down, even after loosening it up a couple of notches. So let's see what it's like on the mower itself. With the cartridge in the mower. I think that's moving fairly easily, and it cut really nicely. So I think it's done. And of course, no job is done until you've cleaned up after yourself. So before I clean up, you can see some of the spray from turning the compound around on the reels. So this is some of the mess, but it's not too bad. I think it'll wash off pretty well. I mean, here, watch this. Actually might need to rub it a little bit. So let's see, how hard is this going to be to get off of here? You see, it's not at all. It just dried a little bit. And so if I just rub it a little bit and loosen it up, if I had a rag, this would be a little easier. So yeah, I think that'll, that's rinsing right off. So just need to, once it dries, it needs a little encouragement. I think that it cut better. It seems like I got a little more consistent out of it, but let's look at I don't know if you can see this, but I am seeing, let's see, where's my finger? I am seeing some good cut blades of grass now. It doesn't look like it's shredding any of the grass. And so that's really the thing that I want to avoid, is that shredding. Look at how nicely those are just cut. So I think that did it. I'll go ahead and mow the rest of my yard and get that all done. And then I have some fertilizer and stuff to put down, but I think that for now, I'll share with you when I get the backlapping paste and do another round of it to see if I can get it any sharper. Before I wrap up today, I wanted to give a quick update about the backyard. And sorry if you hear some panting. Of course, my dog Stella wants to play ball again. Here we go. And there's Shadow. Hey Shadow, hey buddy. Hey you. All right, so it's been a couple of weeks, and what I've done is about every 3 or 4 days or so, I've come into the backyard because, I've been wanting to start reel mowing in the backyard and make it look nicer. And so I've been lowering the rotary cut just like 1 notch every other time I've mowed, and it's gotten it down low enough, but it's still kind of it's a really thick grass, and it's too much for the rotary mower. So I decided to try and go ahead and cut it with the Allett, and it's doing a great job. So let me show you what it's looking like. So this right here is as low as far down as I've gotten it with the rotary, and then this right here is what the Allett's doing, and it's taking off quite a lot. I have the Allett set at 1/2 inch. I don't know how long I have the Allett set at 1 inch. I don't know how long the rotary cut mower is, but the Allett is doing a really nice job here. And I think from here on, I will probably be cutting every 2 or 3 days in the backyard with the Allett. I just wanted to give a really quick update on that. And that's about it. So until next time, it's a great time to mow. All right, bye.